This conference will now be recorded.
So we'll start with the lists now. Okay, now we use for what purpose we use list? Basically to group, to organize things. Suppose, let's say you are preparing for your examination. Let's say you have a mathematics exam. So first you prepare a list of all the topics, right? And then you list out, let's say, all the formulas and everything. Then you list out what are the problems you need to work on. Like that, you prepare a list. Now, when you're going out for shopping, you prepare a list consisting of all the items which you want to purchase. Okay, so you might want to purchase some groceries, some vegetables. So okay, and you list out everything so that you don't forget anything. Now, so you're going to a fruit market, so we prepare a list. Okay, so it's frequently used in our day-to-day life to group the items together, related piece of information together, so that you can easily, okay, remember things. In the same way, in the HTML page also, you can display the related information in the form of a list. Now, there are basically three types of lists in HTML: unordered list, ordered list, and definition list. So what I mean by unordered list, if you had worked on Microsoft Word, you would have seen the bulleted list, right? The unordered list is nothing but a bulleted list. So for every item in the list, you have the bullets printed. When I say ordered list, it is nothing but a numbered list. So for every list item will be numbered, maybe from 1 to let's say the number of items. Then you have definition list. In the definition list consists of basically two entries. Okay, then the what is the item category, and then the description. Let's say if you're listing out all the web technologies, I can say HTML. This for designing web pages, CSS for styling. Like that, you let's say first you give the topic and then the followed by a brief description. That is the definition list. Okay, fine. Now when I'm showing you the example of the lists in HTML. The first column you see unordered list. You can control what type of bullet you want to display. Okay, so this is called as a disk. First one, that is let's say the bullets, then square shaped bullets or circular bullets, and if you want to display a list without any bullets also, you can do. So for unordered list, you have these four options. And for ordered list, you can, let's say, display the list using decimal numbers or decimal numbers with leading zeros, lowercase alphabets, uppercase alphabets, Roman numerals, etc. And you can control the appearance of the list using style sheets, CSS. So basically, when you say list, when you're creating an unordered list, we use the UL tag, and every item in the list will be marked by LI. LI stands for list item. Okay, so for every list item, there will be a bullet. Every list item will be marked with a bullet. Okay, now here, for example, when I'm displaying a fruits list, okay, you can give, let's say, using H1 or some other tag, you can give the heading, and then you can list out all the items marked by a bullet in the case of unordered list, or the list marker can be number in the case of ordered list. Okay, so when I take the unordered list, unordered list begins with UL. UL stands for unordered list. You begin it with UL, and then every item you specify using the LI tag. LI stands for list item. Then once you have specified all the items, you close the UL tag, okay, indicating the end of the list. So for every item in the list, you will get a marker marked with bullets. Okay, let us look at the example. Now what I'll do is I'll create a So I'm going to use the unordered list here. So it starts and ends with a UL tag. Then I say li list item. Now I say HTML. Right. So let me open this program in the browser. Okay, now you see you have, let's say, the items listed out along with the bullets. Now when you want to control the font size and padding everything, you can use the CSS properties we have learned, okay, in the last class, right? So this is a now I have not, let's say, specified any bullet type. By default you will get the bullet like this. Okay, now first let's say this is how you create a basic list. You write down. Next we'll see how to style it with CSS. Okay, write down. So we'll be using, let's say, this unordered list to create navigation menus later when we start designing a web page.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
I came late, so can you repeat this topic again?
You can, let's say, the video has been posted in YouTube. You can have a look at the video.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, finished? Yes. Okay. Now when you look at this list, I've styled it using CSS. Now let's say I've used a color for the bullets. So to apply a color, you have a property called as list style marker. Okay. So this is called as a pseudo element marker. What I'm doing is I'm creating a class color with marker, and then in that I've given it as color. Now remember, since the pseudo element marker is applicable only for the bullets, so if you look at the output, you see the list elements are displayed normally in the normal color. I've given a color only to the marker, right? So let's say this is the class name, color with marker. I'm applying this class for the pseudo element. Okay, pseudo elements have a special meaning to CSS. So they start with double colon. So this is used for applying a style to the bullets in a list, right? So in the UL I've given this class. Okay, so you see automatically it is applied the red color to all the bullets. And if you want to style it, let's say change the font and everything, you can use the normal CSS properties. Okay, and list style is a property that lets you specify what type of bullets you want, whether you want a disc shaped bullets or if you want a circular bullets or square shaped bullets. Okay, so it takes 3 values, and you can give the font size. You can set the font to any value you like, right? So here I've used the CSS property for the bullets and then the CSS property for the list item to display the list items in a particular font, right? You can use any CSS properties we have learned till now, right now. So in the last class, I told you how to add a comment in HTML. Now I'll tell you how to add a comment in CSS. So CSS comments start with /*. They can span across multiple lines and then //. Now you see I've commented this font size 24 pixels, right? I'll refresh the page. Now you see, okay, that style is not applied. So we use this /* and / to comment the unwanted elements in CSS. This is the CSS comment. So when I want to apply the same style again, I can remove the comment and the style will be applied. Now, since I've uncommented it. Fine. Right. Go to the fine. Now when you look at this list, so I'm displaying this list, okay, with a circular bullets. So for this, all you need to do is in the list style, you have to specify the style as circle. So automatically the circular bullets will be added. Now here what I've done is for the UL, I've specified the text color. So the same text color is applied to both the bullet and the list element. Right? List style circle will give you circular bullets. Disk will give you the normal bullets. Yeah, scroll down. So I hope everybody has returned. I'll go to the next program. Now let's say if I want a square shaped bullets, all you have to do is you have to make the list type as square. So list style, you have to make it a square. Okay, you can give the font size and other attributes. You get the square shaped bullets. So using this list style property, you can control what type of bullet you want to be displayed for an unordered list. So the unordered list by default displays all the elements. Okay, I mean horizontally one after the other. You can also make it, let's say, display in a single line. We'll look at it later. Fine. Let's go to the next one. And if you give it as list style, if you give it as none, the list will be displayed without any bullets. For example, instead of square, I give none, list style. Now you see, the list will be displayed without any bullets, right? Just note down this property, list style none will display the list without any bullets. Now in this example, I am displaying an image as a bullet for an unordered list. Okay, so here I'll show you the image, that is basically a JPG file. Okay, I've downloaded this JPEG image, okay, with a tick mark. And now what I've done is I have displayed this as a bullet. Okay, so let us see how to do it. So first you need to specify the list style as none to stop the bullets from being displayed. Then I've set the font size. Okay, now what you need to do is, since you have given list style none, the UL will not display any bullets. Now what I want to be done before, let's say, displaying my list items, I want the image to be displayed for each and every item. Right? So none will, let's say, stop, will not display any bullets. But instead of bullets, I want that image to be displayed for each and every item in the list. So you need to use the pseudo element before. So UL li before, that is, before the list item is displayed. Okay, what needs to be done? Okay, the content. So that is given as, let's say, the space. And then you give the image you want in the place of the bullet with a background image property. So background image URL, you give the name of the image here. Background say size contain. That means the background size, the size of the image should be resized according to the font size of your list item. Then display inline block. I'll tell you what do you mean by inline block later. Okay, in the next class, we'll discuss it in detail. Then width. So 1 EM is another unit of measurement. So you say, I mean, point, pixels and all, right? So EM is another unit of measurements. You display the width and height for the image, and then top margin, right? So this will let you, this styling will display the bullet. Okay, in let's say we'll display the image in place of the bullet, right? And this can be done only through CSS. You can't do it in HTML. In HTML, you can just create a list. That's it. So if you want to control all these image bullets and the placement of the image, you need to add the style sheet, the style tags. Clear? Right now. So first you need to specify list style none to suppress all the bullets. Right now. Over. Next, let us see how to display the unordered list in columns. Okay. So for that, you need to apply the style sheet property. Okay, I've written a class called as column list. And in that, what I've given is columns 100 pixels. That means I want the length of each column to be 100 pixels. And I also want a border for the list. So this is the thickness of the border style, and then the color. Let's look at the output. Okay, so it is displaying, let's say each and every column it is 100. Let's say 100 pixels. Now I'll resize. Now, when I resize my browser window, so automatically, okay, the list items will appear one below the other. So when I maximize it, okay, since I've given the width as 100 pixel, okay, the width will be the same. Okay, it is displaying more number of columns. But if I reduce the size, the columns will be automatically resized according to the width of the browser, and every item will appear one below the other, right? So you can let's say columns 100 pixels, column width 100 pixel. Okay, you just say columns, that's all. Automatically it will decide the number of columns based on the width available in the browser. Okay, right now. So yeah, add lot of list item, nearly, 10 items or more. Then only you will be able to see the effect of resizing. If you have just 3 or 4 items, let's say when you resize the browser window, you won't let's see any difference. So for this example, you need to add at least 10 items. Then only you will be able to view the difference when you resize the browser. Right? Okay. Let's go to the next example. Next, we'll start with the ordered list. So for the unordered list, so the list style type, these are the 4 possible values: disk, circle, square, and none. Okay, ordered list. So for ordered list, for every list item, You'll get it will be numbered using decimal numbers or alphabets, or you can choose to, let's say, number it with the Roman numerals, okay, upper alphabet, etc. Right? Let us look at an example for the ordered list. So it's very simple here. Instead of using this UL tag, you'll be using OL. OL stands for ordered list. LI stands for list item. So if I don't specify anything in particular for the list style, by default, it'll number the list items with decimal numbers starting from 1. So for here also I can use the marker pseudo element to apply a color to the bullet. Right? So here I have not specified any list style. So by default it has numbered the each and every list item starting from 1. I can also control the start attribute. That is, instead of let's say having the list starting from 1, if I want, I can make the list start from 4 or 5 or any other number I like. We'll look at that example later. So I've just given the font size for the OL, nothing else in this example. Right. So I'll scroll down. Okay, let us go to the next example. Okay, now when you look at this ordered list, okay, you can see that for every list element, you have a decimal number preceded by a 0. Okay, now why do you need this? Suppose let's say your list contains more than 10 items or more. So if you don't display the leading 0, so the spacing will not be proper for the list. So it is advisable to use a leading 0. And one more thing is I'm displaying the list in the reverse order. Okay, you just have to set some properties. So here in the list style, you specify decimal leading 0. So automatically the leading 0 will be added. And when you want the list to be displayed in the reverse order, You can with the OL tag, you give the attribute, just give the attribute reversed. So if I remove this reversed, now look at the example. I'll remove this reversed attribute. You see, it will be numbered from 1. So if I want it in the reverse order, just give reversed. Clear? Right. Scroll down. Okay, let's go to the next example. Okay. Now here, suppose let's say in by default, the ordered list or unordered list doesn't allow you to add your own text. So in the case of the ordered list, it lets you change the style of the, I mean the number, whether you can choose whether you want decimal numbers or Roman numerals or alphabets. Now suppose let's say you're displaying, okay, you're creating a workflow, a process chart, right? You're listing out the steps for a process and you want every item to be numbered with step 1, step 2, etc. So yeah, I mean the by default your ordered list does not give you that option. So what you can do is, but it lets you create something called as a step. Okay, custom step counters. So you have to, let's say, give this, let's say, this ordered list. Okay, so even the reversed attribute you don't require here, since you are going to control the entire numbering through a counter by incrementing a counter or a variable. Okay, now let us look at this. So first, let's say I've not given any style or anything. Everything I'm going to specify in CSS itself. This is a normal ordered list. Okay. Now in the style, I've given for ordered list, I've given font size. List style, you have to give none. That is, you're going to suppress all the default numbering bullets, and you're going to give your own text along with a number. Okay, so list style none, counter reset steps. Okay, here what exactly you're doing is you're creating a variable called as steps. Okay, right. Then OLLI, counter increment steps. That is, you're incrementing. So first the counter will be set to the value 0. Okay, now let's say you want to count something. Let's say if somebody is now let's say when you're playing a game, okay, you're supposed to put some a red colored ball into, let's say, a basket, and you're supposed to do it 10 times. So how do you do the counting? First you tell the person to put it. The first time he puts it, you can write a piece of paper, you can say 1. Second time, let's say you make it 2, and so on. In computer, in let's say basically in programming, what you can do is you can declare a variable. I've declared a variable called as, let's say, counter here. Counter reset steps. Okay, declaring a variable called as steps. And then li. So before I display the li, okay, counter increment, it will add 1 to the value 0. So the value of the counter will be 1, and before displaying the list item, so the content, so what to be displayed in place of the bullets. So I want what text I want to display. I want to say step and then 1, and then I want this bracket. So you give the step within this double quotes, counter of steps. Your steps is the variable, and then finally I want the closing bracket. Okay, you can give the margin, color, and whatever you want. So what will happen is, first time when you say in the style sheet OL, so it will create a variable called as steps. It will make it 0. So OLLI. So when you display this, when you display the first list item, it will be incremented to 1. So before displaying the list item, you let's say give this content as step, and then the value of the counter. So the first time it will the counter will be 1, it will print step 1. Then second time it will be incremented by 1, incremented to 2, and so on. Right? So this is what you're doing. What you're doing is you're turning off all the default numbering in the ordered list, and then you're giving your own text, and then the counter. You're controlling the numbering. Right? So this will be helpful when you're displaying a set of steps for a process, or let's say in you're creating a blog, right? You're giving a cooking recipe. In that case, you can use this step, and this can be done only with CSS. It cannot be done with your HTML. The HTML does not let you specify any of your text and then the formatting like this. Clear? Okay. Now let's say you write it down and then you go through it today. In case you require, you're not able to understand, I'll explain it once again tomorrow. So this before is a li before is a pseudo element. So whatever you want to be printed before printing this list item, you give the content here. Let's scroll down. Okay. We'll go to the next example. Now here I have displaying two ordered lists and I have numbered it with the uppercase and the lowercase alphabets. So all you need to do is you have to give the list style as upper alpha for uppercase alphabets and lower alpha for lowercase alphabets. So here I have created two different classes. So when I have been named upper and lower, so whenever I want the list items to be marked with uppercase alphabets, I use the class name as upper and then class name as lower when I want it to be marked with lowercase alphabets. Right, then I've separated these two using this horizontal ruler. Right on. Over. And when I want to mark my list with the Roman numerals, so you can give upper Roman or lower Roman. So in a particular web page, you want to have two different lists with one marked in uppercase Roman and one marked in lowercase Roman numeral. You can create two different classes, and then you can assign the appropriate class names to the list to apply the style, right? So for the first one, I have used uppercase Roman numerals, and for the second list, I have used the lowercase Roman numerals. Write down. I'll scroll down. Over. We'll go to the next example. Next, you have the definition list. Okay, so for the definition list begins with DL. So this defines a definition list and ends with /DL, and DT defines the term and DD gives the description. So you can say, definition, term, definition, description. Okay, now you can create the appearance of the list will be something similar to this. First, this is the T, this will be the term, definition term, and this is the description. So the same way you can give the name of the state and the capital like this. Okay, next let us look at an example for the definition list. So DL, DT and DD you need to give, and when you want to give the font size, styling and everything, you can use CSS. So here I say DT, then similarly for DD. Okay. And for one term, you can also give multiple description. Okay, for example, I can add one more description for a term. So near here I say Telangana. Right, so for one term I can also give multiple description. Okay, right. Over? Okay. Then we look at the nested list. Nested list is nothing but one list within, defined within another list. Okay. Now, when you look at this example, I've listed out the software. First, let's say I have an ordered list. Okay, starting with what? Let's say alphabets. So A, operating system, first element in the list. And within this, I have a nested list of the list of operating system with decimals. Then for the second element, I have a nested unordered list with square shaped bullets and like this, right? So I have the outer list. You see, I have 3 elements. For 3 elements, I have a list nested within that element. So this is called as a nested list. Nested list is nothing but one list within another list. And if you want, you can let's say style it, right? OL. So if I want to give the font, I can say list item. I can use combine the selectors OL, UL. I can give the font size. Right? So unless you are, let's say, thorough with the concept of CSS, right? I mean, you can't work on all these advanced concepts like lists and table. So you have to know exactly how to use CSS classes, then how to use CSS IDs, right? And then how to use combined selectors. So you need to be thorough with all the concepts we have discussed yesterday. So then only you will be able to write the style code for this easily, right? Right. So when you look at this, let's say I have this OL, let's say, and then for the OL, what type of, let's say, style I've given? OL upper alpha. So I have, let's say, this upper alpha operating system. Then after giving this operating system, okay, instead of specifying the next list element, I give OL. So you see, this is nested within this item, the first item. Then this is the first item in the list. Then second item. Again, I give a list, nest a list within this, and so on. So this is how your nested list appears. Right now. And what type of selector is this? Tell me. OL, OL, LI. What category does it come into? So this comes under the contextual selector. So LI. So if it is an ordered list within another ordered list, this is decimal is applied. Then OLUL, that is a list item appears in an unordered list within an ordered list, this is applied. So that is what you see here. So here you have the square bullets, and for this you have the decimal. Scroll down. Over. Okay. We'll move on to the next example. Suppose an ordered list. By default, it starts with 1. I don't want the list to start with 1. I want to start with some other number. So you can use the start attribute. OL start is equal to 5. It will start numbering the list with 5, starting from 5. Suppose if you give 10, it will start numbering the list with 10. So for this, along with the OL, we give the start attribute and then we give the value with which the list should start. Okay, right. Now when you look at this, I have an ordered list and let's say I have the list items. Okay, for the bullets I have a colored circle, right? Let us see how to give this. So you have to, last example we have seen, no counter reset. You have to give the list style as none and then you need to have a counter to display, and in the before, okay, item. So li before, you need to increment it. You need to give the margin and then the background color, etc. Now when you give the radius as 50%, using this term, let's say this radius where you want to place item center, it will understand that you want a circular, you want it to be filled with a circle, right? And this is the CSS code for this. Place items center. So the value you display will be placed in the center, right? Right on. Over? Okay. We'll stop with this.